Episode 8, titled A Big Piece of Garbage, sees New York under threat by a big piece of garbage, and it's up to Fry and his 20th century living to help save the city. In this episode, 4 new recurring characters are introduced, including Maurice LaMarque's 10th voice credit. So let's get started, and be sure to stick around to the end of the video for a vote for the best moment of the episode. Welcome to the Hip Joint, where Futurama fans get in free. The episode starts with the second
"Good news, everyone!"
from the professor, as he delays the crew's delivery to Ebola 9,
The virus planet.
Why can't they go today?
keeping them alive to attend the professor's science symposium so he can debut his unbeatable death clock.
Tells you exactly how long you have left to live.
Fry gives it a try, and when Bender learns how long Fry has to live, he calls.
Ooh, dibs on his CD player!
If you've ever dreamed of being as well dressed as Mr. Bender, then like and subscribe, and make all your dreams come true. And an Elmer Fudd cartoon from 1943 called A Corny Concerto is playing during the opening. Outside the Academy of Inventors building, you can see the Academy's logo, showing off all the greatest inventions man has ever created. The light bulb, the wheel, don't forget the mousetrap, and the single greatest invention for balding men everywhere, the spray-on toupee.
Who's the gross nerd?
The first new character to grace us with his presence is Ogden,
Wernstrom.
Look who decided to show his wrinkled face.
a nemesis of the professor's own making. Much like in a Marvel movie where the villain always has the same powers as the hero, the powers this time are genius-level intelligence and senility. Also needing to take naps.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take a nap before the ceremonies.
Wernstrom.
Then tells the professor to leave the science to the 120-year-olds, making me wonder why all the scientists are so damn old. There's not a young face in this crowd.
You young Turks think you know everything. I was inventing things when you were barely turning senile.
And the Young Turks news show didn't begin until 2002, and this episode came out in 1999. So I'm not sure what the reference was supposed to be. If you have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. We get a flashback on
Wernstrom's
origin story
No one gives Ogden Wernstrom an A-.
and why he is seeking revenge on the professor. And I mentioned in an earlier episode that the writers of the show are very educated, so anytime equations can be seen on a blackboard, they are most likely real equations.
The electron must taste like grape aid.
Ron Popeil guest voices himself this episode as the host of the symposium,
But wait, there's more!
boasting his many inventions, along with being responsible for creating the technology to keep heads alive in jars. But seeing as he passed away in 2021 and didn't invent head in jars technology, that's one prediction Matt Groening got wrong.
Wernstrom.
Unveils his revolutionary reverse scuba suit, so mankind can finally live its dream of walking their fish. After
Wernstrom's
presentation, the professor learns that his unbeatable death clock is the same invention he brought last year.
Did it put you young whippersnappers in your place?
Hardly. We laughed until our teeth fell out.
And this is the invention that I want. Look how easily this guy flies around the room. Racing against the clock, the professor doodles up a quick blueprint for a smelloscope,
Pencils down, prune face.
which gets him laughed out of the room. Not before
Wernstrom.
gets the revenge he's been waiting almost 100 years for.
Give your invention the worst grade imaginable. An A-.
Back at Planet Express, Fry tries cheering up the professor with this inspiring speech,
No, Professor, don't give up.
just before giving up completely.
Are you even listening to me? Oh, I give up.
Luckily, it inspires the professor just enough to go build his smelloscope. And like his death clock, he discovers that he...
Built one last year.
If you have a story that involves space in any way, it is compulsory to insert a Uranus joke at least once. Luckily,
Astronomers renamed Uranus in 2620.
What's it called now?
Eurectum.
I wonder if Neil deGrasse Tyson had anything to do with it, seeing as he is responsible for reclassifying Pluto in 2006.
Pluto had it coming, just don't get me started now.
Smelling around a bit more, Fry comes across something monumentally disgusting, judging by his reaction to the smell. He seems to be the only one affected this way though. Everyone else is grossed out by it, but not on this level.
smelliest object in the known universe.
Oh, name it after me!
And of course, Bender wants it to be named after him. Now, I'm no expert on smelloscope technology, but how the hell is Leela able to smell that it's moving? And it's less hard to believe, but still extraordinary, that the computer can pinpoint the mass's impact zone so precisely when it's not even connected to the smelloscope. This episode is a parody of the movie Armageddon starring Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck. In that movie, they were given 18 days to destroy the asteroid headed for Earth, which is hard to believe. But movies got a movie. But I'm calling bullshit on the 72 hours to save the city, and I'll touch on this more when we see what steps are taken to prevent the demise of New York. And Bender knows exactly what he needs to do to help.
Well, let's get looting!
The crew learn that the giant mass that is going to destroy New York is actually a big piece of garbage from the year 2000, which they learn from this video from the internet. The video happens to be a short documentary about the trash in the city, which can be seen as a reference to a 16-day garbage worker strike from 1981, where people had to literally walk around giant piles of trash in the street. The riders getting their second stab at New Jersey.
The landfills were full. New Jersey was full.
How dare you think of that country they are referring to in the video?
Not even that really filthy one. You know the one I mean.
You should be ashamed of yourself. New York City, using its mob connections to launch a big piece of garbage into space, is a reference to the 5 mob families who ran New York City from 1931 to the 1970s. But the show insinuates that those mob connections are still running strong in 2000.
New Jersey was full.
Fry is spot on with this line.
In my day, the internet was only used to download pornography.
And it doesn't matter how many times I watch this part, I can't help but laugh at the way this guy says,
With gusto.
this quick line making it into the vote for the best moment.
Perhaps you can help me with my sexual inhibitions.
With gusto.
The professor decides it's time to warn the mayor, and I guess City Hall is owned by Citibank now. The second recurring character we are introduced to is Mayor C. Randall Poopenmeyer,
Send in my science advisor.
who needs to check this outlandish claim of a big piece of garbage hurtling towards the city. So he calls in his science advisor,
Wernstrom.
refutes the professor's claim of a big piece of garbage heading for New York, until the mayor's secretary comes in with a message from a crew based on Neptune.
Garbage ball. Pass close by.
The transmission cuts out there, sir. There we go.
Much like the obligatory Uranus joke in space movies, every disaster movie requires that people get the devastating news through the window of a TV shop, and Pete's TV already knows this. It's on this TV broadcast we see the hosts of the Square Root of 2 news show, Morbo the Annihilator and Linda von Schoonhoven.
Makes me glad we live here in Los Angeles.
Morbo agrees.
A meeting is planned on how to destroy a big piece of garbage. Leela suggests shooting a missile at it, but the general explains,
We've simulated that on a supercomputer, but the ball is just too damn gooey.
The professor then comes up with the idea to plant a bomb on a big piece of garbage, next to a pile of old AOL floppy disks.
But you'll never find a crew willing to take on a mission so suicidally dangerous.
This isn't the first time the professor gleefully sends the crew on a suicide mission, and it certainly won't be his last. The bomb the professor gives the crew is set for 25 minutes, plenty of time to make their escape. And as the crew are on approach to a big piece of garbage, you can hear Bender being affected by the smell. Once again, the robot has no sense of smell or taste.
Magnitude 12?
Once the crew touch down on a big piece of garbage, Fry immediately starts rummaging through all the great trash of the 20th century. Like this tie Beanie Baby, a Spock collector's plate, and a pile of talking Bart Simpson dolls.
Eat my shorts.
Okay.
And the way Bender says,
Shorts.
is just like Homer and his love for donuts.
Donuts.
The bomb is ready to be planted on a big piece of garbage, and I just love Leela's confusion and the ensuing panic when they realize the professor installed the timer upside down.
We're gonna die! Right?
Right.
Ah!
Bender's quick thinking gets the bomb as far away as possible, but this poorly timed asteroid knocks it right back into Bender's hands. This whole situation goes into the vote for the best moment.
Hey, watch it! You'll put somebody's eye out!
The crew's failure to destroy a big piece of garbage is rubbed in their face with this sign, the professor taking most of the blame.
Blame rests with known human Professor Hubert Farnsworth and his tiny inferior brain.
But I think more of it lies with Fry, because this is fucking disgusting.
1 month my toilet broke, and I just went straight in the garbage can.
This means a new plan is needed, and the mayor calls in
Wernstrom!
and this jackass gets tenure, a grant, and lab students just before dipping out.
What plan? I'm set for life.
The professor's next plan to deal with a big piece of garbage is to knock it off course with an equally sized a big piece of garbage. But garbage-free New York needs Fry's garbage-making expertise. And this is my issue with the 72-hour timeline. There is no way in hell the crew made a failed attempt to destroy a big piece of garbage, and then made enough trash and gathered it into another a big piece of garbage in that amount of time. And what are you even doing, lady? Your trash can is right there. This is an episode that lets us know just how brilliant the professor is, but at the same time, this man can't even finish a countdown.
3, 2, 3.
He is Fry's nephew, after all. The new a big piece of garbage is used to knock the old a big piece of garbage into the sun, making me wonder why they didn't do that with the first a big piece of garbage. God, humans are dumb.
We're all going to die horribly! Ha 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 ha!
The professor is awarded the same trophy that
Wernstrom!
got at the Inventors Symposium, and he didn't even invent anything. He just created another a big piece of garbage.
Wernstrom!
And his lab students, including the 3 Chinese ones, are all salty, but that's okay. It's this line from the mayor that makes it into this episode's vote for best moment.
For the Academy Prize, which we confiscated from Dr. Wernstrom after it became apparent that he was a jackass.
Also, I sprinkled this episode's title throughout the video. See if you can count how many times it's said. A big piece of garbage was burned up in the sun, putting an end to its terror over New York. And the only way to end this video is to hold the vote for the best moment. Is it the X-rated documentary?
In my day, the internet was only used to download pornography.
Now that the garbage is in space, Doctor, perhaps you can help me with my sexual inhibitions.
With gusto.
The upside down timer?
We've got 25 minutes. 15 minutes. 5 minutes. 6 minutes?
There's your problem. The professor put the counter on upside down.
Ah! We're gonna die! Right?
Right.
Ah!
Or
Wernstrom!
getting what he deserves.
I now present you with the Academy Prize, which we confiscated from Dr. Wernstrom after it became apparent that he was a jackass.
Yes! In your face, Wernstrom!
I'll get you, Farnsworth, even if it takes another 100 years.
Vote now or comment your favorite moment down below. And don't forget to tune in next week for episode 9, Hell is Other Robots.